Hi, I'm Lance Martin from MBO America. I'd like to welcome you today to a case study we are going to present on MWI Direct in Lincoln, Nebraska, which goes over their move to continuous feed color inkjet printing and high-speed finishing. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about the case study in just a moment. First, I'd like to talk just a few minutes about MBO America. So the pie shape on the right side shows MBO's business segments of today. We still are a premier manufacturer of commercial folding systems, most commonly sold into the B1 and offset sheet size markets. But then you'll see this huge piece of the pie that we call digital web finishing and digital sheet finishing. And that's where we are working with people converting from offset into digital, going roll fed and sheet fed, using our folding technologies from the other markets and applying them into this one. We also have a significant piece of the pie in die cutting, where we see the Bograma type die cutter for the B2 size sheet in a rotary method, really taking off well. And then especially in pharmaceutical products for inserts and outserts and PI work, all where you take large sheets and fold them down to tiny little products with many panels that get tucked inside and outside of boxes for medical products and cosmetic products and so on. We have a few standardized solutions. The first three we're going to talk about today at MWI. They cover both direct mail, self-mail, cut and stack postcards, and that's typically the way things go. Is we have a modular approach, and most customers need a system that could do many things, not just one. Going beyond that, we have the signature and saddle stitch book box, brochure lines. They can work well with stitchers and binders. Then we have embellishment tools to go on the web for any system, which would be like dynamic perf and scoring, and our newest member of the family, which is the aqueous coater or UV coater that can put a coating on any web from 23 or 30 inch wide, or possibly even larger if you have a different application. Let's move on now and discuss the details of the case study at MWI. I had the pleasure of meeting Dean Hart, the president of MWI. Dean's a 35-year print industry veteran and very uniquely started at MWI in 1994 and thought enough of the company and the market to buy it in 1996. He's locally active, involved in the community, is an additional business owner and managing partner of Dino's in Lincoln, which is a restaurant that's been part of for 14 years. And one of the comments I put in the presentation, which I thought was interesting after we talked about the restaurant business for a minute, one of his recommendations was don't get in the restaurant business, which I thought was kind of an interesting comment. He also goes and teaches at the University of Nebraska in that hospitality, restaurant, and tourism segment. MWI is a full-service direct marketing company and been around since 1989. They specialize in Fortune 500 companies, banking, nonprofit organizations nationwide, and they use data-driven programs to hit all aspects of the marketing sequence for their clients. They do it all as a single source supplier, providing all the production under one roof. This strategy is a very high focus strategy and turns into great response rates. The overall philosophy Dean uses in the business, it comes from a sales point of view. He is ultra committed to the customer and creating a commitment and partnership with them to drive the business. He believes completely that servicing and retaining clients is the best business model. As you go through the plant, it's easy to see that they manage the entire marketing program as they produce a job. They don't think about things as just some print job that they get off, get done, and get out the door. It's a great model for the future. Because they are a single source supplier, they provide a full range of services from graphic design through data management, through finishing and logistics. So what is this going to look like for the future? Well, we all know we're going to have to change, and we all know we're going to have to lower the cost of labor. We're going to have to deal with more SKUs and shorter quantities, maybe large orders, but a lot more runs in between. We're going to have to find automation processes, and all of that boiled down to the points you see on the screen. But the most important one, I think, is item number 1, where Dean talked about relevance. And they must remain relevant in a fast-changing marketplace. And that involves providing technologies for their existing customers that keep them relevant also. And that also means investing continually in new technologies. Their existing customers want to stay with them, but they have to be able to provide services that keep with movement of technology. That also will attract new customers, so it's a double-edged sword. That will absolutely get new customers coming from suppliers that don't have this business idea. And then, of course, the newer technology and will have greater impact and higher results for those customers, both new and existing, and just keep their business on a much sounder foundation. In the original model, there were 2 main workflows, one cut sheet, one web. But they both had the same basic idea. It was a shell environment, putting variable data onto pre-printed forms and then finishing them in a separate process. The web-based workflow uses a sand and press with variable change cassette of 22, 28, 34, and other common sizes in the industry, and went from roll to a fan-folded product that could be used on the toner machine. The make ready on the machine was typically 2 people and went from 1 to 2 hours. The runtime on the press was 500 foot a minute or so, maybe more. And a make ready and spoilage on overruns for the offset process was 8 to 10%. This process also added in the pin-fed tractor holes for running on the toner machine, which led to a make ready and tooling in the unit seen in the photo here in the lower right. Make ready time for the toner-based machine was short, only 5 to 10 minutes, and then the fed toner machine ran at 125 foot a minute range, which led you to about a 4 to 1 ratio compared to the preprint model. So this scaled with 1 conventional sand and press, 1 toner-fed press, and 1 buckle folder that went in line with that toner press. And you can see then the 125 foot to minute final process is about a 4 to 1 scale with the front. So there was quite a bit of lag time in once it got to the data press. This is a pictorial view of the web process. On the left, you see the offset press producing the forms in a fan fold environment. The toner-based press takes a fan-folded product and prints the data on it, and then the buckle folder is at the exit of the press, producing the final folded piece. So the model of the sheet workflow was similar on the front side. It went roll to sheet in a ditty press, which were fixed cutoff machines. And again, we had 2 people and an hour or 2 make ready on those machines for a job. Those machines also ran 500 foot a minute or better, but they still had that spoilage rate of make ready and overrun of 8 to 10% for the offset process. After sheeting, they went to the guillotine cutter to be prepped for size. The make ready on the toner box for those sheets was still short, 5 to 10 minutes. The toner box printed rather slow, and you'll see that they had 4 actually cut sheet boxes to be able to keep up with that workflow. So they had a turn down of about 4 to 1 there compared to the press, and to meet deadlines. The buckle folder was the next step, where they would fold the product into its finished size, and they were using a bindery, a rather large bindery that they had available. You see one of the machines on the left. They had up to 9 folders and other machines in there that could produce that product as needed. So they had a long time in aggregate, but they and had many handling points. And then there was another step, possibly if they weren't going direct to fold with it, they could go back through maybe a glue or some other process to finish up. And here you can see the sheet fed workflow where they go form to sheet, sheet to the guillotine cutter, go into the press for variable data, and then go into their bindery for the folding and the finish, and possibly a couple of steps if they had to glue something down the road. So what was the evaluation to acquire these new processes? What were they looking at? Well, quite simply, on the press side, it had to be capable of consolidating all that you've seen prior into one machine that had enhanced variable text and graphics. And the print quality had to be spectacular. It had to be able to take them to all their existing customers, and it had to be able to take them into the future with whatever new market they were going to break into. The finishing system had a similar tall order. It had to take on at least those 4 finishing operations we've reviewed earlier and put them all into one line. The finishing was not intended to be in line with the press. It was a reality early on in the project that putting a finishing line in for commercial like this in line with a press would reduce a machine like a press that's 99% efficient to something much less when you have complicated processes downstream. It had to decrease the total number of hours compared to the conventional operations, and it had to decrease the turnaround times. More and probably most importantly, there was a huge emphasis on getting the most reliable equipment with a high level of service and support. The press selection came down to the Canon ProStream 1000. It met all the quality expectations for their current market and will likely meet them all for their other vertical channels they intend to get into. The speed and production capability of the machine was at a very high level. And Canon always has an exceptional service and support network along with workflow training and support. And then the machine is upgradable in the field as time goes on and enhancements are made. So it's definitely an investment for now and for the future. A finishing line from MBO America was the choice for roll-fed finishing. The nearline system is able to consolidate all the processes into one finishing line using a modular approach. It has an industry-leading speed rating up to 600 feet a minute or even more. It's definitely built for the commercial environment. They're a 2-shift operation and hopefully will move to 3 as they grow. And the MBO equipment is built for that type of an environment. It had an excellent service and support network. It definitely could reduce the labor requirements running this line with 1 or 2 people at a very high production rate. Definitely removes labor compared to the conventional processes. And MBO has an extensive history in production finishing solutions in the commercial marketplace. I'm going to go over some finishing line configurations quickly to give you an idea of how this line can configure itself using modules. The letter fold setup is the most common and probably the primary for most. Goes from a roll through a dynamic perf and sheeter to a folder and makes 2 up letter folds going straight out. Because it has 6 buckle plates, you can see it has a multitude of patterns it can make. Most all common letter folds in the direct mail business are possible. A little bit different offshoot to the letter fold configuration is the addition of a gluer. There we can take more of a self-mailer approach and glue closed products that are ready to go in the mail bag. And you can see also in the orange highlights shown are some perf and score patterns that could always be put in the web to help out folding or put in a tear off or a coupon or something of that nature to enhance the effect. The self-mailer also can go in a cross-fold direction, and we can turn the folder at a 90-degree angle in order to make it viable to fold in the other direction. So in this case, maybe you have let's say a 6 by 9 or 10 oversized self-mailer. You could run the web width 18 inches wide to pick up that 6x3 panels. Run the product through the sheeter, turn it, fold it. You can glue or not glue it closed and make a self-mailer inline too, and that fit their business model. A Slit and Nest product is an interesting one that they had a lot of and they had to be able to do. So MBO adds this addition of a slitting table in line with the folder and can do that easily. So we can fold up letters. You'll notice this is similar to the image of line 1. We turn the product in a double stream and we can slit off the edges of the folds depending upon the patterns, and basically that lets you tuck a buck slip inside of a folded product that can go right into the direct mail piece. So that was a large volume for their work, and it's an easy setup for MBO. Cut and stack, of course, everybody has those. Most famously known for postcards. Here, the layout, you see a 3-up postcard using that slitting table to get rid of gutter cuts and edge trims and so on. And then we can burst the sheet into 3 and stack them into quantities. Some of the common things are, transaction style letters and sheets, postcards, and then it can also do 1-up and 2-up for single sheets of different sizes. Let's go over quickly a sample of a cut sheet workflow that will be changed with a great ROI. The original method had it going on the Ditty press roll to sheet, then the guillotine cutter, then a toner box, then a buckle folder, and then an offline gluer process to finish close the product for mailing. That involved 8 people and a lot of steps and a lot of time. The new method will go roll to roll in the Pro Stream, roll to finish on the MBO line, involving only 1 person on the press and probably 2 people on the MBO, 1 operator and 1 delivery person. That's a savings of 5 people and a huge amount of time and many hours of labor. In the last couple of seconds left, I'll show a video of the line running. This is a direct mail piece starting from the roll, going through the sheeter, taking a quick turn, and it ends up being folded. This is a very large 3-panel brochure type mailer direct mail piece. So here you can see the web width is actually the fold pattern, the cut-off, the sizes of the product from edge to edge. This is a shot of the dynamic curve score unit. It's not being used in this particular product. And it just passes through on the web. It goes into the sheeter. You cut off. The sheeter is a chalk cut or a trim out cutter. Automatically takes out the corners, measurements marks. It also takes the edges off the sheeter tools. Here you see the final sheet coming out ready to fold. In this case, you see the door over the fold plate without using the door. In this case, it's activated back to the heat. There's the bucket plates. Stacked up. So I want to thank you for watching this presentation of the MWI case study in Lincoln, Nebraska. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you found it valuable. If you'd like a copy of it or you need to talk to anybody from MBO America, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can always find this information at MBOamerica.com. Thank you.